Minutes past 3 on a Friday afternoon. What have you got planned for this weekend? I've got a few things planned. I want to make sure that I get to watch the Goodsey documentary. I've got to kids, take the dog for a walk, maybe take some of Emma Bickley's advice when it comes to cooking African food. Give chakalaka a go. Now, if you asked Diana Tundulin what she is doing on the weekend, well, she'd say, I'm competing in the Storm Damage Cage Fighting Tournament on Saturday night. Cage fighting? You what? Now, when we say cage fighting, we're talking mixed martial arts. I caught up with Diana earlier and asked her what got her into the sport.
I had a friend whose husband was into it, so we'd go and watch him fight, and I remember one time watching a female fight out there and thinking, I can do that. I can do better than that. So I've kind of got to know a few people in the industry and got to know Storm a bit more, who runs Storm Damage out of the Storm MMA gym in Canberra. And there was an opportunity came up to fight somebody. I think they were looking for somebody. I thought, put my hand up and said, why not?
So you weren't watching it thinking, oh, that's exactly what I want to be. You just went, I can beat her.
Yeah, pretty much. I can do that. But it was also an extension of other sports that I've done. Been heavily involved with softball in Canberra ever since I was in primary school, but more so volleyball during my teens, up to the point where I've almost pretty much running my own club not so many years ago, a Hornets Volleyball Club, shout out to them. I ended up getting into Olympic weightlifting, had a little bit of an injury, so I pulled back and did a little bit of powerlifting, and it wasn't as explosive for me as I needed it to be. So I ended up thinking, well, let's go and do a bit of mixed martial arts, see if I've got what it takes. So I've got this wonderful opportunity that's come up, and I've decided to grab it by the horns and, yeah.
Tell me a bit about mixed martial arts. What is it? Is it explosive?
It is, definitely explosive. Obviously, it brings together a bunch of people that are doing a form of martial art. As you might find with some of the competitors, they might have strengths in one particular discipline, whether it be taekwondo, karate, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, judo. There's elements of boxing in it as well. So, yeah, it's kind of good to see the strengths that come out, and I guess the way it has been explained to me and the way I think of it also is it's like a game of chess. You've got two competitors in there, each of them have their strengths. It's just a matter of moving piece by piece and finding out what your competitor's strengths are and what their weaknesses are and capitalising on those weaknesses.
How do you win?
There's a number of ways you can win. There could be a knockout, so technically a punch to the face. There could be a technical knockout where somebody's close to being knocked out and the referee steps in and calls it off. You've also got points decision by the judges. So if you were to go your full rounds and it's a result that isn't apparent, that the referee needs to step in and make, the judges will do that. And you've got 3 judges critiquing the fight, if you know what I mean. They have a little scorecard that they use, and yeah.
You're on Afternoons on ABC Radio Canberra, and with you is Diana Tundulin. She is an athlete in mixed martial arts. So you're competing this weekend. What's the competition?
Correct. This particular competition is called Storm Damage. This is Storm Damage number 12. So Storm Osher from Storm MMA has put on quite a number of these shows. So it's been over a year since he's done the last show. So this weekend, doors open at 6:30, Tuggeranong Basketball Stadium. First fight is at 7, and that'll be me.
Who are you competing against?
I'm competing against a lovely young lady by the name of Amber Behag. She comes from Orange and is fighting out of 2800 Gym.
It's a real challenge for those of us who aren't used to mixed martial arts, where people punching each other in the face, as you mentioned before. But we hear someone like you, and you just sound absolutely delightful. You just mentioned your opponent, and you referred to her as being lovely. It's hard to marry the two together. How can you help us make sense of that?
I guess you just have to put your best fight forward on the night when you're in the ring. When you go to training, you might become a slightly different persona as you are from your work life and home life. So when I'm at training, I'm a fighter for that point in time. When I'm at home, I'm a mother. When I'm at work, I'm a good worker. So it's really compartmentalising you might call it personalities, if anything. But the good thing is you can sort of take strength from all those different contexts and lift yourself as a competitor or as a human being in each of those different contexts.
So you mentioned the different influences as far as martial arts goes. What did you start doing yourself? I
initially started karate, not for a very long time, during my teenage years. Didn't stick with it very long. Found it a bit challenging, and that's okay. Then I moved on to Muay Thai for a little period, and that was fun too. But I kind of found like it was a bit restrictive. So mixed martial arts is probably a bit more, how do I put it, not jack of all trades, but it does sort of bring together quite a wide range of skills, which adds to the complexity of the sport.
Where does mixed martial arts stand as far as, protective gear goes? I just say this because there's so much concern about head injuries in sport, whether you're dealing with AFL or even basketball or something like that. Do you feel like there's enough protection in mixed martial arts?
Absolutely. You wouldn't be put into a fight situation unless you had the skills to defend yourself. One of the rules, or the directives that you get from the referee at the start, it's protect yourself at all times. The benefits, I guess, of mixed martial arts is you're training to watch those punches coming. So you are expecting it, whereas with other sports, rugby league, AFL, you're having somebody come at you at different angles. So you may not necessarily be expecting it because your attention is elsewhere. So I do kind of think it's a safer sport in that respect. Yeah.
You don't have headgear, do you, in mixed martial arts? What's your feeling about that?
I'm not too worried about it necessarily. I'm pretty confident with my skill base in terms of being able to defend whatever punches are coming my way. We do at training have protective gear if and when we do need it. We train with boxing gloves, which have a little bit more give in them when you do punch. They're a bit more padded. So mixed martial arts gloves are a lot smaller, there's less padding, so when you do get hit, it does hurt, but you also are able to fend a lot quicker because of the bulk of the gloves aren't getting in the way necessarily. On afternoons on ABC Radio Canberra, you're hearing from Diana Tundulin, who is an athlete in mixed martial arts, and she's competing this weekend here in Canberra. You mentioned before when you were talking about powerlifting that you had to stop that because of an injury. Have you recovered from that injury? Yeah, I've got one leg shorter than the other, so my muscles tend to be a lot more stretched in my right side, and I've just been able to rehab that, which is quite well, but my chiropractor suggested I take a little bit easier and lift a bit lighter, and it's just not something I can do. So, and that was a number of years ago, but yeah, I like to move around a bit, try different sports. That'll actually suit my body, and this seems to be it for the moment, so yeah. Right, so that's not a problem at all when you're doing mixed martial arts? Not at all. Does this influence other aspects of your life? Absolutely. Resilience, patience, strategy. Being able to recognise when it's an appropriate time to hold back and get ready to, I guess, put your best foot forward at the right time. Strategy. That way you can actually get ahead. So that's the strategy I've employed, yeah. And do you have what people would describe as a regular day job here in Canberra? Yes. I'm a public servant again. I recently got out of the public service, but back in again. So office work. I know that my work colleagues are probably listening to this, so hi everybody. But it's a very good supportive environment. A few people are a bit shocked at the start, and then they realise over time, oh yeah, you're looking really fit, and they're asking quite a lot of questions. How's your training going? Are you looking forward to your fight? And of course I am, which is nice. So yeah. Was it strange at first, where we say, oh, what are you doing this weekend? Well, yeah, I'm actually doing this, and it's like, wow. Really? Yeah. So. You make everyone else's weekend look a little bit dull. Yep, true. So how are you feeling ahead of the fight on the weekend? Good. As it's getting a bit closer, yes, the nerves and reality check pops in. But, I've trained as much as I can. Best woman will win on the night. Are there many opportunities for women to fight in mixed martial arts? Yes and no. It really depends on your experience level. I know as you kind of get a little bit more experienced and have a bit more wins under your belt, you are perceived to be a harder competitor. No doubt you end up fighting people at your level, and that kind of diminishes over time. So I think at this stage, look, there is a few opportunities out there, which is great. I'll take them on. Yeah, who knows what the future holds.
Have you set a specific goal that you'd like to achieve in this sport?
I haven't really thought that far ahead other than this fight that I've been concentrating on. So, my immediate goal is to have this win and move on to the next.
And you can see Diana Tundulin this weekend. She's competing in the Storm Damage Cage Fighting Tournament, and as she mentioned there, it's on Saturday night at the Tuggeranong Basketball Stadium. Her fight starts at 7 p.m. Best of luck, Diana. You're on Afternoons on ABC Radio Canberra. It is 3:30. Let's get the